Karen's laugh was a hyena's cackle, echoing across my backyard like a bad omen. She stood there, all 300 pounds of her, smugly waving my lease agreement like it was a parking ticket she could crumple and toss. "You think this little paper means anything to me, sweetie?" she sneered, her chins wobbling as she ripped the document in half. Her sister Linda, a carbon copy of Karen but with a worse perm, snickered while shaking a can of spray paint. They were the HOA's reigning tyrants, the kind of women who'd fine you for a blade of grass out of place. Today, they'd picked a fight with me, Sarah, the new tenant who dared to park her bike on her own porch. Their mission? To teach me a lesson by defacing my shed and destroying my lease. They didn't know I was recording every seconder that their little stunt would land them in handcuffs. It started 3 weeks ago when I moved into this quiet cul-de-sac. I'd signed a lease with Mr. Thompson, a kind retiree who rented me his cozy duplex. The ink was barely dry when Karen and Linda, the HOA's self-appointed enforcers, knocked on my door. Karen, the president, had a clipboard and a glare that could curdle milk. Linda, her lackey, just nodded like a bobblehead. "No bikes on porches," Karen barked, pointing at my rusty Schwinn. "It's in the rules." I checked the lease. Nothing about bikes. Mr. Thompson confirmed it. But Karen didn't care about leases or facts. She cared about power. Over the next week, their harassment escalated. Notes on my door demanding I mow my lawn. It was already trimmed. Fines for unapproved flower pots. Whispers to neighbors that I was trouble. I ignored them, thinking they'd tire out. Big mistake. Karens don't tire, they fester. Last night, I caught Linda snooping around my backyard, peering into my shed. When I confronted her, she scurried off, muttering about violations. I installed a cheap security camera after that, just in case. This morning, I woke to the hiss of spray paint. Peering out my window, I saw Karen and Linda in my backyard, giggling like schoolgirls pulling a prank. Linda was scrawling "Move Out" in neon orange across my shed. Karen, holding my lease stolen from my mailbox, tore it to shreds, letting the pieces flutter onto the grass. My blood boiled. That lease was my lifeline, proof of my right to live here. I grabbed my phone, hit record, and stepped outside. "Karen, what the hell are you doing?" I shouted, my voice shaking with rage. She spun around, her floral muumuu flapping. "Oh, look, it's misentitled. This paper's trash, honey. And so's your shed now." She gestured at Linda's handiwork, her lips curling into a smirk. Linda, emboldened, added a lopsided smiley face to the graffiti. "That's a legal document," I said, holding up my phone. "And you're on camera." Karen's smirk faltered, but only for a second. "You think you can scare me with your little phone? I run this neighborhood. You're out by next week, or I'll make your life hell." I didn't back down. "You're trespassing and destroying my property. Keep going, Karen. See what happens." She laughed, that grating cackle again, and tossed the last shred of my lease into the wind. "Go cry to your landlord, sweetie. He can't help you." But I wasn't crying. I was dialing. Mr. Thompson had warned me about Karen's vendettas, and he'd given me the number for the local police's non-emergency line. I called, explained the situation, and kept filming as Karen and Linda continued their rampage. Linda sprayed HOA rules on my fence while Karen rifled through my trash cans, looking for more violations. They were so absorbed in their power trip, they didn't notice the patrol car pulling up. Officer Daniels, a no-nonsense woman with a buzz cut, stepped out. "Ladies, step away from the property," she said, her voice calm but firm. Karen froze, her hand still clutching a crumpled soda can from my trash. Linda dropped the spray can, which rolled into the grass, leaving an orange streak. "What's this about?" Karen demanded, puffing out her chest. "We're HOA, we have rights." Officer Daniels raised an eyebrow. "You have the right to explain why you're trespassing and destroying a legal document." She nodded at the torn lease scattered across my lawn. Karen's face turned beet red. "That's just paper. She's the one breaking rules." "It's a lease," I said, stepping forward, my phone still recording. "Signed and notarized. And you stole it from my mailbox, which, by the way, is a federal offense." Linda gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Karen shot her a look that screamed, "Shut up." But the damage was done. Officer Daniels knelt, picking up a piece of the lease. Tampering with mail and destroying legal documents? That's serious. Karen's bravado cracked. We didn't know it was legal. It's just HOA business. Daniels didn't blink. Ignorance isn't a defense. Turn around, both of you. The cuffs came out, glinting in the gray light. Linda started sobbing, her perm bouncing with each hiccup. Karen, still defiant, muttered about her connections as Daniels led them to the patrol car. My neighbor, Mrs. Garcia, who'd been watching from her porch, clapped slowly. "About time," she called out. As the car drove off, I felt a mix of triumph and exhaustion. The shed was ruined, the lease in pieces, but I had the video. Mr. Thompson arrived an hour later, horrified but not surprised. "Those two have been bullying tenants for years," he said, promising to replace the lease and cover the shed repairs. He even offered to testify if I pressed charges. The next day, word spread like wildfire. Karen and Linda's arrest was the talk of the neighborhood. Posts on the community board, usually Karen's domain for shaming others, now roasted her. "HOA Queens busted," read one. Another shared my video, which had gone viral locally. Turns out, Karen's connections were just her cousin who worked at the DMV, and he wasn't much help. The fallout was swift. Karen was stripped of her HOA presidency at an emergency meeting. Linda, humiliated, stopped showing her face. They faced charges for trespassing, vandalism, and mail tampering, felonies that could mean jail time. I didn't gloat, but I didn't feel sorry either. They'd built their empire on intimidation, and now it was crumbling. I repainted the shed myself, turning "Move Out" into a mural of sunflowers. Mrs. Garcia helped, and we bonded over coffee and stories of Karen's past meltdowns. The neighborhood felt lighter, like it could breathe again. I learned something, too. Standing up to bullies, even the Karens of the world, isn't just about winning. It's about showing others they can fight back, too. Karen and Linda thought they were untouchable, but they forgot one thing: actions have consequences. Their reign was over, and I was still here, bike on my porch, lease renewed, and a little more faith in justice. The end.